I hope you enjoyed the clip. Let's just do a quick recap of Alim's main points. He tells us that we need to understand the problem at its root cause. That's what we're doing now in the define step. He also says to start with a problem and not to be an answer in search of a question. Otherwise, we run the risk of focusing on the wrong question, likely an effect of the problem, not the problem itself. He tells us to identify the binding constraint of the problem. So while the vision for the concept might be much larger, the binding constraint is the starting point for the innovation. He also reminds us to work with a target group to co-create a solution. So let's return to our case. Remember Ravi? What more do we need to learn about our target group and their situation so we can develop a clear problem statement and problem tree? Let's go back to Ravi's empathy map. Ravi tells us that he wants to have a successful dairy business, except that his milk production is low and the quality is low because he adds water to the milk to increase the volume. As a result, he can't get good prices for his milk. Yet he feels that he spends a lot of time and money taking care of the cows and he's not getting results. And at the same time, he sees that a lot of other farmers are being successful. So in addition to talking to our target group of small-scale dairy farmers, we talk to other stakeholders such as the village leader, dairy program director, and other community members. In the second part of the course, as you develop your concept, you'll have an opportunity to conduct other stakeholder interviews. So for the problem tree assignment, you can draw on the expert interview you conducted while doing your empathy map. In our interviews, farmers told us that there's high demand for milk and that they can sell as much milk as they produce. Secondary research confirmed that milk consumption has been climbing. Also, during our visit to the village, we saw that most cows didn't have free access to water, even if water was available nearby. So we tested this assumption by asking our target about their cow watering practices. This is what we learned, that in fact, cows don't have free access to water. Cows are normally watered 1 to 5 times a day, depending on the weather. In summer, it's 3 to 5, and in winter, more like 1 to 3. Cows are led to water and must drink all the water they need on the spot, sometimes in a matter of minutes. Through secondary research, we learned that milk contains 88 to 90% water. Thus, water is the most important nutrient in a cow's daily intake. In hot weather, water consumption can increase by 20% or more. The natural behavior for the cow is to eat and drink intermittently and to drink water after milking as opposed to consuming water all at once. Water troughs need to be easily accessible within some 15 meters of the feeding table. And the water consumption should be measured by dairy farmers. Cows can consume somewhere between 15 and 20 liters of water at a time. So that means that if a cow is watered 1 to 5 times a day, they may not be physically able to consume all the water they need to sustain production. And water quality matters, so that's temperature, cleanliness, and minerals are all important. Dairy cows in India are Jersey cow breeds. Based on our primary research, we calculated that our target group's cows drink somewhere around 72 liters of water a day. And they produce an average of 10 liters of milk per day. This is extremely low production for Jersey cows, which should produce closer to 45 liters. The chart on the left shows the correlation between the water intake and milk production. Here's what our target is producing. And this is the possible production level. So we know that there's room to increase Ravi's income. After scrutinizing the causes of small dairy farmers' income, our original problem, we decide to focus on the problem that cows don't drink enough water. And this is how we craft our problem statement. This flow chart shows how answers to interview questions and other research help us to identify the binding constraint of the problem, as well as a starting point for our solution. So let's now move on to ideation, or the process of coming up with ideas for your social innovation. So in our case, we're going to ideate ways to raise awareness about the need to provide ample water to dairy cows. There's lots of different ways to come up with ideas to social problems, and here's just a few of the techniques that I like. If you find that this list is in any way lacking, then I would suggest going on a Google search under Ideation for Design Thinking that provides many, many more ways to do ideation. So brainstorming, we all know what this is. At this stage, all ideas matter, no matter how wild. There are no bad ideas in ideation. So remember Popo's rats? Sketching solutions can also help, drawing pictures so you can visualize the solutions, or even doing storyboards. Benchmarking from other industries is something that I like to do. The best example I know of this is an Indian social entrepreneur and doctor who increased the efficiency of eye surgeries in his hospital by studying the operations of McDonald's restaurants. Sounding board. Share your ideas and get feedback. This is a good time to connect with your peer mentors. One of my favorite frameworks for coming up with ideas is the Fast Idea Generator by Nesta. This looks at problems through different lenses